Who do we got for the day on Team 1 and 2 of NA? Team 1 is going to be Mithrin coming back in as a Feral Druid. Nice looking Mog. We got ourselves Evranar as a Windwalker Monk with a staff. And, oh, Serenity playing a bit of a tune. Obliteration here as a Fire Mage, almost like his name is Obliv. We got ourselves Azaze, and we got ourselves Peachy, but I for some reason can't swap to Peachy. Did I fuck up one of my keybinds? I most likely did, didn't I? Yes, 4, 5. Okay, I need to do a reload again. Wait, hold on. If we just hit return to game somehow. Hold on, I had it. Wait, we're doing it. Here we go. Obliteration, getting hit with a big obliteration from Brew Captain. Who's gonna be first up on Team 2? Popping off a bit of a defensive play with Zoen. Gonna go for a bit of a dampened magic as Obliteration actually gonna get out of there as a crane. He poured it out as a crane just now. A Mr. Pandaria crane. Nova onto Brew. Trying to use the time warp in order to give himself a little bit extra survivability. Does he get to port back? Looks like he does. Gains all that health back. Even though he gets interrupted, it's okay. Brew Captain comes back in with big kicks and punches. Either way, though, breath onto Brew does not last long. Obliteration does have a bit of a slow onto Brew. They're just continuing to kite him around with Instacast. Big karma onto Obliteration. Does he go for an Ice Block? He'd still hold. No. Ice Block available. He actually might be in a really bad spot. All he has is a bit of a cauterize. It looks like he is going to have a B-Res. Brew Captain is aware of the B-Res. He's not looking for the B-Res. I think Obliteration might have himself a second chance. He needs to take out the Cocoon before it gives him B-Res. Actually, B-Res goes off on the Fire Mage. Brew Captain needs to finish him off. Does kick him on fire. It looks like the Touch of Death still comes in. Clutch. Brew Captain almost made a bad misplay, letting the mage come back. Well, in fact, he did let him come back, but he did turn it around. Big metamorphosis coming out for Azazel's, but it's going to be immediate disarm by Brew as soon as he sees it flying up in air into an in cap. And that's going to be Azazel's going to go just floating down slowly. Does get at least one fell lance into Brew. Second fell lance, third lance, and that's going to do a bit of damage, but not as much as what we've seen in the previous expansion. Brew setting up a port down below. Azez does pop into Shadow Mode for a second. Darkness coming down very early. And Brew is going to boop him out of that darkness. Interrupt on actually leg sweep onto that I-beam. Swapping to the wrong person. Big damage out of Brew. Taking out the Demon Hunter with a big Fist of Fury. Good wombo combo. Using the Kyrian ability to give himself Giga Master. Mithrin going to be up next. Getting big bleeds onto Brew Captain with a bash right after. Brew has a bit of left on his karma still. So actually could be pretty big for Mithrin right now. Going for the big bites. In cap. Brew needs himself a little bit of survivability. Does go for Diffuse Magic Karma onto Mithrin and is going to catch him with a Fist of Fury. Trying to see if he can turn some damage around back onto Mithrin. He's going to pour it out of there with the Fey ability. Transforming into a bird for a second before he will go back into one of the menu forms he already gets access to as a druid. Brew looks like he's going to have himself recovery. Mithrin had a really good setup. Just needed a little bit more damage. A couple more bites. Maybe even just go for a bash of the Brew into Convoke. That probably would have done the trick, honestly. But he still has a chance. Brew does have a trinket for the nice go. It's going to be Fist of Fury onto Mithrin, who's going to stag out of there and try to see if he can leap into a bit of a re-heal with some hots. Brew lining up for a bit of damage. Has a leg sweep ready with his Zoen. Mithrin will not have a trinket for it. So Brew can get himself a good setup. That's going to be the Thorns. Needs to deny the Thorns damage for a little bit. Just need to survive. Incap is used in order to peel the Feral off of himself. And next leg sweep could be huge for him if he can get Zoen up and running as well. Bash by Mithrin does go for a leg sweep. Images are available. Zoen is up with a big Fist of Fury. Does he go for a Roaring Dragon Punch? Looks like he doesn't. Wall is available for Mithrin as Brew just did not have enough damage to follow up. I feel like if it were just a channel to full Fist of Fury, I think he would have been in a good spot, honestly. Mithrin's still super low. Convoke Spirit trying to heal himself, getting interrupted onto Convoke. Fist of Fury flying, and Brew is going to be able to take him out. 3 people down on Team 1. As Team 2, Brew not even letting the rest of his team play. Alvanar is going to go for a bit of an honor duel versus Brew Captain. This is going to be a monk versus monk with a very similar setup, except Brew is more set for a diffuse magic, seeing that the name of the team has a Peachy. It has a Demon Hunter, which is a bit of fire damage, a bit of chaos damage. You got yourself a Fire Mage with fire damage, so 2 out of 3 people of the team have a lot of magic damage to follow up with. So going for diffuse magic makes sense, but Alvanar got Dampen Harm, which should be a little bit more encompassing, just with a longer cooldown. but maybe that'll be better for him versus Brew Captain. It is going to be playing the Night Fae Windwalker with Celerity, so we'll see how that works. Into Alexiup onto Brew, getting Zoan up and running. Does he pop Celerity? He does not. Big kicks, however, is going to Trinket out of that in-cap. In-cap onto Brew Captain for a second. Try to see if he could roll over to him with a cheat torpedo. Gonna be a ring of peas for Brew. Means that Brew does not run good Karma talent, which could be pretty bad for him. Elvenar going in for big damage, but does get knocked off as he turns on Celerity. With a disarm for Elvenar, will not have a Fist of Fury to follow. Should be some damage, but Fist of Fury is actually gonna come out with Alexi, but Alexi Brew is gonna take him out. Oh no, it's down to Peachy as a Moldrax's Boom Chicken. So far, Brew has had a major advantage over everybody. Gets a trinket out of people, locks him down in a leg sweep, and takes him out. And Peachy is going to pop into stealth for a second. What kind of a soulbind is Peachy running? I wonder if he's running the one where Flesh God gives you immunity to CC. Because that could be huge. That could be insane. But against a monk, I don't really know how much that could help you with. Peachy has a shield ahead of time. Playing a Boomkin, I do wonder if you have enough dot damage with Moldrax's ability, the Swarm, to really get a lot of value out of it. Maybe with a certain legendaries he might be able to. Cyclone on to Brew, actually going to get hit with an in-cap instead. So Brew is going to be able to get the opener, knocking Peachy off the platform. I think Brew maybe is just waiting for cooldowns. He doesn't have leg soup just yet, so maybe he's just kind of trying to displace Peachy. Looking to maybe catch the Boomy out of cat form, out of stealth. And Peachy is going to switch to the travel form for extra mobility. We are only hitting the 5-minute mark here just now, almost 6 minutes. With only 6% dampening, so everybody has a lot of healing still saved up to themselves. And Peachy's just gonna have to take it a little bit slow, popping back into stealth. What kind of a setup are they gonna go for? Looks like getting some dots at the Brew Captain. Does not use the Swarm just yet. Again, just taking their sweet time. There's no point in rushing this duel, especially against a monk if you're looking for a win. Is gonna hit him with a roar into a Cyclone Raptor. No, actually Brew's gonna Trinket out of the roar. Trinket coming out for Peachy, bash onto Brew, going in for big starts. So there's 1 surge, 2 surge, and that's gonna be the diffuse magic available for Brew Captain, getting the Swarm onto Brew. That should be quite a bit of damage as soon as the diffuse magic down. Thorns is up for Peachy as he's trying to get staying aggressive here. Versus Brew interrupting him. I think he actually locks him out. Brew does go for a big mastery play right now. That's going to be a Karma onto Peachy. Brew looking to turn that Karma into an aggressive Karma. But looks like Peachy is going to bail out of there and catch a couple of regrows and a Fleshcraft to make sure he's fully healed up. Has extra health buffer to work with. Every 2 minutes he can put up that shield. So Brew did use his Kieran ability just now. And might have even used his, you know what he might have even used? He might have used his other ability for Kieran, the Vial. Gonna be a Swarm onto Brew. That's gonna empower the dots that Peachy has on Brew. And that's gonna do a little bit of dot damage as well. And that Swarm is going to bounce between Peachy as well as Brew. The Swarm on Peachy is going to make his HOTS a lot stronger. So it's everything that's a heal over time. And everything that's a dot over time onto Brew Captain when the Swarm is on him is just gonna amplify the damage. I think by like 20% or something. I think it's by 20%. I could be wrong though. 7 minutes into the duel, 15% dampener. Peachy popping back into stealth, waiting out until his big go. His incarnate is down for the time being though. He's going to send the Swarm at Brew Captain, which should maybe put a bit of pressure. With 16% dampening, I think that might actually start doing a bit of dot damage. Significant dot damage. Lexi put the Peachy popping the bar so that it sees Brew Captain committing quite a bit of damage with the Zoan. That's going to be a lot. Peachy getting the Swarm back for a self-heal, knocking Brew Captain out of there, and the Swarm amplifying that self-heal really well. And that's going to allow Peachy almost to catch a restyle. The images do find him, does roar out of it. Trying to maintain the dots on the Brew Captain as soon as possible. Resending that Swarm. Letting the Swarm just kind of eat at Brew Captain. 90% dampening. Only 4% extra dampening added up since the last time we called it. And now the Swarm is really starting to eat at him. In-cap onto Peachy. Brew does not have a leg sweep to follow. Does have a Fist of Fury, which he does not want to fist into a Thorns. And that's going to allow Peachy quite a bit of damage onto Brew. Has him really rotting down with that Swarm play. Like the dots for Boomy are actually looking really strong right now. As Brew Captain does catch up on a bunch of AO5, still not super high dampening, so he's not completely out of the situation where he needs all the energy in the world just to keep himself alive. Peachy popping in the bear form, does get himself a bit of a self-heal rolling, needs to turn around onto Brew at some point. That's going to be a bash as Brew does in for a leg sweep with his Covenant ability. Going to be a knockback off of Brew. Does he have a fast enough way to get back up to Peachy? Going for an in-cap, hasn't won for a heal yet. Going to be a basket out of Peachy, trying to deal with the damage from Brew, just trying to let it go long term. While in Bear, just trying to tank this up as best as he can. So Fury flying is actually going to cancel it as Thorns coming out, and Peachy is continuing continuing to move. Brew popping off the defuse magic, looking to maybe end Peachy right here. Can he even catch up with those thorns? Continue to do damage to himself, popping off that karma, and Peachy just needs to survive until the karma is over, and then Brew Captain is going to be in a really bad spot. He's sending the swarm maybe a little early into Brew. That is going to redirect some damage to Brew with the dots and the karma. You roar onto Brew. He does land the incap onto Peachy yet again. Peachy continued to power shift out of those Fist of Fury as best as possible, knocking Brew back for a second. He needs a little bit of damage. There goes the incarnation. Looking for the big setup. Brew does go for a port. Didn't really go exactly what he wanted to with that port. Peachy going for a regrowth. Brew is going to try to see if he can knock him back. If only Peachy had a Star Surge ready there. Brew is actually struggling to keep himself alive. That is a wall. That's a lot of defensive usage here. Karma not available for a while, and Peachy seals that incarnation for a little bit longer. Does get interrupted to Brew. Fist of Fury flying onto Peachy, as it's a lot of damage back to Brew Captain, though. Brew's looking to maybe get some value out of the thorns out for Peachy, and Brew bails out of it. The mobility of a monk keeping him alive, but Peachy so far has not given up just yet. He just needs just a little bit more damage to the Brew, just a hair more damage, and he'll have him. But Brew is doing a good job maintaining himself. He's actually also doing a good job doing damage to Peachy too. He gets good setups. Peachy is playing that dot game though the whole time, as much of a dot game as he can, so hopefully he's buffing all his dots as best as possible. As Brew is right under, looking to maybe get an incap onto Peachy. Peachy trying not to give him that opportunity, as Brew doesn't have a leg sweep just yet, but he's probably looking to go for some big damage. And Peachy gonna catch himself yet another reset. The Boomy has to go for so many resets, I think, in order to make sure that this game is gonna be good. He does have multiple dudes to go after in terms of the rotation of enemies. There's still a lot of the other team. Both of them still, yo, Stealthies, get out of stealth, please. Also, be a Nova Cat. Be out of cat for him, my man. Nova Cat. Yo, out of cat for him unless you're dueling, my man. Thanks so much, dude. Appreciate you. That's probably helping Brew, him being the cat for him. Peachy's super low right now. Popping in the bear form into the stack. Trying to see if he can bail out. A touch of death does connect. That is super unfortunate. Did that druid heal him? A little bit. I guess it's not too much. Yeah, I don't know if that was that much of a heal. 4.2.